Oh yeah, we are live. I didn't know how to start this live stream because I'm doing it differently this time. But yeah, it seems that we are live. How's it going? So this is going to be just Q&A if someone shows up. Last time I was surprised. So the first time we had like 30 to 40 people in the chat. The second time we have 20 to 30. So I'm trying to guess what is the best time to do these live streams. Maybe Saturday night is not the best time, but this is the time that I have right now. So I'm just going to freestyle this live stream, the same as the first time, just answering questions and see what happened. See what do you guys want to talk about? Hey, somebody's asking me. Let me see. Hey, will we get a Lies of P demo stream? You guys want to see me playing Lies of P? Yeah, maybe. I've been thinking in doing some gameplay videos. And at the beginning, for me, that was looking 1:30 a.m. in my country. It was very late. Is that Brazil? Michael Carvalho. At the beginning, I thought, man, live streams of someone gaming, why would that be interesting? And yeah, it is interesting because, for example, Portugal, 1:30 a.m. It is interesting because if I want to learn, for example, I don't like this kind of games like Diablo 4, for example. If I want to see, where is the fun of that game? So the people that play that game, what is that they like about that game? I would just watch a live stream for a moment and see what are they doing in that game. I don't understand. Just clicking and fighting. So it is like getting someone else's perspective of a specific game. So yeah, I'm planning to do some gaming live streams. I'm not sure if people are gonna be interested on that, but yeah, there's always someone that might want to watch it. And I am a Souls fan, so that's what I would be playing. I would be playing. Not Sekiro. I don't want to. I want to play something that I don't get stuck. Something I can actually play and beat. Because if I start playing like Sekiro and start dying or something, then it's gonna be boring. Plus, I want to get my first OLED G3 for 14 feet. 9 to 14 foot is a good distance deal coming from KS Series Sports and Movies. Saludos. So you mean that how far away you're going to be? 9 to 14 feet? I have an idea of 9 to 14 feet, but if you tell me, let me see how much is that in meters, because that's how I know the distance better, because where I come from, meters is the unit of measurement. Let me see, what is that? 9 to 14. I open my PC in case I have any questions like this. So 14 feet to meters. Let me see how much is that. 4 meters away. That's too far away, man. I mean, you're gonna have to get like an 83 inch or something, and the 83 inch G3 is not the MLA. So you want to get the 77 inch. That's too far away. Why are you so far away from the TV? I would say get the 77 inch. That's the biggest G3 that has the MLA. If you want to get the G3, myself, I wouldn't get a G3. I'm not sure if that would be your first OLED. That's a great TV. The G3 is a great TV. And I don't know, man, it has so many bugs and issues, and in general, all reviewers are recommending the S90C and the S95C over the G3. And I am not a big fan of QD OLED because of the raised blacks under lighting conditions, but you have to turn off the lights if you want to get the best picture quality anyway. So I would say get an S90C or an S95C. The thing that I'm not sure about with the Samsung is the settings that you have available, especially because you don't have black level control on this Samsung QD OLEDs. There is a shadows setting and there is an EOTF setting, but those settings are not the best to fix the black level rays that we have in gaming. So that's the biggest problem I see with QD OLED, just for the usability side, because it might be a great TV, but most of the games HDR are broken. So if you cannot fix that black level rays with the TV settings, how many games are you gonna play that look fantastic? That's a big problem. So yeah, the G3 is a great TV. It has the same settings and the same menus that all the LG TVs, really. So I don't think you can go wrong with that. And to watch sports, you want a very bright SDR, and the G3 has it's like 250 nits, full screen SDR. So I mean, you cannot go wrong with that. It's a great TV. But the thing is, sports are very low resolution and frame rate content, unfortunately. So if you get a huge 77-inch G3 to watch 720p 30 FPS content, that looks terrible. And yeah, these TVs, they do have upscaling, but it doesn't look great. But to watch movies, yeah, sure. With movies, I have the same issue, the frame rate, but at least you get a high resolution, you get great HDR. So I mean, you cannot go wrong with that. But I would say get the biggest TV you can afford, for sure. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Euro Chuck Norris says, why do game developers always by default use film grain filter on video games? Does anyone think games look better with the setting on? I don't understand, man. I just don't understand. Film grain at least has a toggle. Most of the time we have the way to turn it off, but sometimes they include chromatic aberration and you cannot turn it off. Like, they don't even give you the option to turn it off. And that is just absolutely insane. I've never seen any game on any example that looks good with chromatic aberration. It is just an aberration of colors. What I'm talking about is that you see this, red silhouettes that is contouring the content. It just looks horrendously bad, especially on the sides of the screen. So it is such an ugly post-processing effect. And yeah, film grain, that's just the worst you can do for picture quality. For movies, they add film grain to hide some of the limitations of the camera. So if the camera doesn't have a very good low light performance or something like that, they add that film grain garbage just to hide that, and it looks bad in movies too. I just don't understand. It's like adding noise to the picture. Why would you want to add noise to the picture? You want the picture to be as clean as possible, not as dirty as possible. That's just absolutely insane. So yeah, at least film grain, we can turn it off. But yeah, absolutely insane. Okay, I see. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, I would say um, yeah, you cannot go wrong with the G3, but the price is just not, it's not good enough, man. The price is too expensive. If you need a huge TV, get the G2, especially if you're gonna be watching the TV from very far away. Get an 83-inch G2. It's about the same thing as that G3 because the G3 83-inch doesn't have the MLA. So get the G2. I mean, 77 is a better price than 83. For 83-inch, you're always paying a big premium, and the difference is not that big. But yeah, get the G2 because of the price. I don't think it's worth that G3, especially if you're getting the 83 inches, the same thing, almost the same thing. Have you played The Last of Us 2 with film grain? I haven't played The Last of Us 2 because I don't have a PS5. So I have to wait until it comes to PC. But with Naughty Dog games, I see that they all look the same. Uncharted 4, The Lost Legacy, and The Last of Us 1, they look about the same. And they are like Red Dead Redemption. They are absolutely amazing games. Like, they are probably one of the most, polished and games that you definitely, you see that the developers, they just went crazy with the details, and they have so much care for the game, but they look bad because they look blurry because of that TAA. It's just bad decisions, man. Bad decisions that are ruining an absolute masterpiece, in my opinion. That's just bad, man. I mean, those games should be, no question, those games from Naughty Dog should be the best looking games, period. Because the potential is there. The work behind those games is absolutely incredible. But they just look bad, in my opinion, because of bad decisions. Like, just doesn't make any sense. I get that those games were designed for the console and all of that, but for the PC version, they have to change that. It's just, they don't look good, man, because of they look blurry and all those post-processing garbage. But at least you can turn off those things. So in Cyberpunk, for example, is it okay to leave lens flare, or at least turn off film grain and chromatic aberration? Lens flare is okay. The lens flare is when you see the sun effect that looks like a circle of light, like if you have a lumen or something. I think that's what it is. It looks good. I actually like lens flare. Sometimes the only of those effects that I sometimes I try it on or off is blooming. No, what is the name of this thing? I forgot. It's blooming. No, what is the name of this thing? I will remember in a moment. But yeah, lens flare is okay. I don't have an issue with that lens flare. I have a C1. Now, if you have a C1, are you the one who asked me for the G3? Let me see. Oh no. Because if you have a C1, definitely don't get a G3. Okay, I have a C1 in game mode. Dark areas are too dark, but when I bump up the dark level from limited to full, or gamma from BT 1886 to say 1.9, the image gets gray and washed out. That's because you are using a PS5 or an Xbox, probably, because the Xbox is always limited. On the Xbox, you cannot have full. So on the PS5 at 60 FPS, you can have full or limited. And then when you go to 120 FPS, it is limited only. I don't have a PS5 or an Xbox. That's as far as I know from Gaming Tech. He told me that. So if you have limited on the console and you force full on the TV, it's going to look washed out, because the TV needs to be unlimited because limited on the TV means expand the signal. Okay, so you need to expand the signal to see the content that's limited. So if you select full on the TV, that means don't do anything. Basically, you're going to see it washed out because the game is actually limited inside full. That's why it looks washed out, because you have a bunch of garbage information on the high and on the low. So you need to expand that. You need to be on full, so just leave it on auto. And so you're saying that the C1 in game mode dark areas are too dark. So you have to, maybe your TV is almost new. I don't know if that's the case, it needs to break in. But you can test with a near black test pattern. You can test to be sure that the TV is not crushing blacks. That's very easy to test. Just download the near black test patterns that I share on the channel. I have it on my Google Drive. Just download that folder with all the test patterns and open that full screen SDR picture, and you should be able to see the entire test pattern. And if you are not, you can fix that with a 22-point calibration. On SDR, there on the C1, there is a setting on the 22-point calibration that is called adjust brightness level. So what you have to do is select 22-point calibration, this is on SDR, go to the lowest signal level percent, which is 2.5% signal level, and then increase that adjust brightness, increase that a little bit, try 5, and then increase that adjust brightness to increase it on 5 at the 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And what you have to do is you have to gradually reduce the number. So let's say you start adjust brightness level in 10 to increase the visibility near black, okay? To make that near black brighter, because you're saying that your C1 looks too dark to you, to your eyes. It looks too dark near black. So what you have to do is increase that brightness near black. 22-point calibration, this is on SDR. 22-point calibration, select 2.5 and start, for example, 10. Adjust brightness level 10, and then do 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So go gradually reduce it in steps of 1 or 2. And the idea is to increase the visibility near black from 2.5% signal level to 30. Okay. And you want to gradually reduce that increment because you want the gradients to be smooth. So if you, let's say if you increase 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10% signal level, you increase that to 10. Increase each of these, you increase it to 10. And suddenly 0. Yeah, you don't increase anything. If you watch a full screen test pattern with the gradients, which I have in the folder that I share, you see all those test patterns that I'm talking about. If you open that full screen test pattern with all the gradients, you will see that it's not gonna be smooth, perfectly smooth. So to make that perfectly smooth, you need to increase the visibility near black and reduce it a little bit. So you need to do this. See, you need to reduce that increment. You don't want to increase brightness 10 at 2.5% signal level, 10 at 5%, 10 at 7.5, 10 at 10, 10 at 15% signal level, and then suddenly 0. You don't want to do that, because then you will see that the gradients are not going to be as smooth. You will see a jump. It's not gonna look it's not gonna look good. So what you have to do is you have to gradually reduce that increment. And that's what fine-tune dark areas, what it does is that when you lower fine-tune dark areas, it lowers more the lower end of the grayscale, and the reduction or the increment. The problem is if you increase fine-tune dark areas beyond 2, if I remember correctly, 2 on my LG C1, but that might be different, slightly different on other TVs. If I increase that beyond 2, then I get raised blacks, and you don't want to do that. But the way fine-tune dark areas works, if you increase it or reduce it, is that in that way. It affects more the very low end of the grayscale, and the effect of fine-tune dark areas gradually reduces or gradually. So if you increase it, the increment is going to be higher in the very low end of the grayscale, and that increment is reducing until at 25% signal level, there's almost no changes at all. Okay, so you want to simulate that same idea. I wish LG had a fine-tuned dark areas that allowed to increase the visibility near black without losing the perfect blacks. So if you have a case like what you're describing, oh, I believe that the near black looks too dark for me, you can just increase that fine-tuned dark areas without losing the perfect blacks. In that way, you get better visibility near black, and you still have perfect OLED blacks. So I should answer your question. On SDR, you don't have, on HDR, for example, if you want to fix that issue on HDR, you don't have this adjust brightness level, but what you can do is increase red, green, and blue, from the code values that are, from the lowest code value, increase red, green, and blue to the same value. So red, green, and blue 5, for example, and do 5, red, green, and blue 4 on the next code value, 3, 2, 1. Do 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So increase it from the lowest code value and then reduce the effect. The same idea on HDR. If you want to get, so all of this that I've been explaining is to increase the visibility near black. And this is something that I have a lot of experience with because of black frame insertion, to get the perfect, visibility near black when you use OLED Motion Pro High. I've been playing a lot with that. So I have a lot of experience doing that, and I know it works very well. So I can easily fix that problem, and it looks fantastic. Okay, dark mode colors are great, but that input delay hurts. Dark mode colors. I don't know what you're referring to. Dark mode, is that Windows dark mode? I don't know what you're talking about. Input delay hurts. Let me know what you're talking about there. PS4. Oh, is that on the PS4? I don't know. I've never had a PS4. Do you still have low expectations for GTA 6? I don't know. I don't know what to expect, really. If they are using the same Red Dead Redemption 2 engine, yeah, I mean, I know how that looks. It looks so bad, man. And the leaks, they didn't look very good, in my opinion. They look same. They look the same as Red Dead Redemption 2. That engine just looks bad, man. The reason why those games are good is because the developers are amazing. The developers, they just work so much. But that engine doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. GTA 5 on the PC has aliasing no matter what. You can use 8K, 8 times SMAA. It doesn't matter. You see aliasing. I think on the there was a PS5 version, like an update that improved that a lot. And it looks better than on PC based on Digital Foundry, based on the review they did about that. But yeah, that engine just looks bad, man. Red Dead Redemption 2 is just a masterpiece. So many details. That game should be, I mean, just the best looking game ever, and it is not. It just looks terrible because of that TAA. And I know there's a mod. I've tried the mod. It still doesn't look great. It looks better. It doesn't look great. DLSS looks terrible because I cannot even use DLSS in Red Dead Redemption 2 because, and I check Red Dead Redemption 2 once in a while. I install the online Red Dead Online to see if there's any updates, and it still looks bad. So the problem with DLSS in some games, and this happens on Red Dead Redemption 2, is that when you have a static picture, it looks kind of blurry. And then when you move the camera, it becomes sharper. In some games, the opposite happens. So you have a sharper picture and then you move, it is blurry. But I see with DLSS, it's happening more often that it looks a little bit blurry. It looks like TAA when it is static. And then when you move it, it becomes sharper. So it is like DLSS is actually not even working when it is, I mean, I'm sure it is working, but the temporal things, something is not working when it is static, and it has to work when you move the camera. So you have two different pictures, and that is so annoying to me. Like, it's so annoying that it changes. So I'm like, here, I'm with my controller, and I do this, and it becomes sharper. It becomes sharper. So every time I move the stick, the game becomes sharper. And that's such a terrible thing. I don't know. I don't understand how these developers, they just think that's okay. That's just horrendous. They have to fix that, man. I don't know why that happens, but I see that so many times, and it's terrible. But yeah, I mean, GTA 6, I'm sure I'm gonna like the game. I mean, no question about that. We're talking about, is GTA 6 going to be the absolute best game ever with more details, like just absolutely insane? Yes, it will still probably be that game. Will GTA 6 look better than the city sample demo, like, the Matrix demo? Yes, in some ways it will look better. Maybe it's not gonna have that insane draw distance, especially with that engine. That's one of the other things that's the worst about that engine. The draw distance is just messed up. On GTA 5, you get popping no matter what mod you use, no matter what settings you use. The popping is insane. In Red Dead Redemption 2, the level of detail is attached with the TAA. So if you remove TAA from the game, then you see popping, like, and it's very, very ugly. In Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC, you can modify the config file and increase the draw distance to try to fix that. So you can increase the draw distance dramatically, turn off anti-aliasing, or just use SMAA or AK, AK, SMA, MSAA, and insane draw distance. But then who can run that? You're gonna need a 7090 Ti. There's no way to run the game if you increase the draw distance like that using the config file. But that might be the only way to brute force Red Dead Redemption 2 to just look amazing. So I'm not expecting GTA 5 to be able to fix that, because they're gonna be using the same engine. It's just a limitation of the engine, unfortunately. But I'm sure the game is gonna be amazing. I mean, in my opinion, GTA 5 has the best driving. I mean, the way the cars move, it's just the best. I've never seen any. I'm not sure if it's the way the cars are turning or a combination of the camera. So the way the camera shakes. So when you are on the freeway, you're in your car, it's non-stop. You see the camera is kind of moving a little bit, but it's moving on a realistic way. It just looks so good. And then when you're turning, the way the camera is turning with the car, and you have free control over the camera when you're actually turning, it is just the best, I mean, for me. So GTA 6, an improvement, a big improvement over that. I'm going to enjoy that a lot. But yeah, the engine it's just bad, in my opinion. They are doing magic with that engine on GTA and on Red Dead. So dark mode, cinema mode, standard mode. Oh, you mean, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't care about those modes, really. So the modes on the TVs, they are actually different. So let's say that you use the same settings on, let's say you use vivid mode, you use this on the LG C1, for example, and I've tested this on the plasmas, and it also changes. So let me explain you. So let's say on the LG C1 you use vivid mode, and you use the same settings. Let's say SDR, for example. You use the same brightness settings, the same everything, same color gamut, same color saturation, everything is the same, and you compare vivid mode with a standard mode. Big difference in terms of the brightness. Vivid mode is gonna be significantly brighter. Also, cinema home, I believe it is, and you need to be aware of that. You need to know which mode is the brightest. You can test that very easily with some test patterns and a mobile app on your phone, like a looks light meter app. You can test that, and you can clearly see which, even with your own eyes, you can see the difference. And also, what you can do, what I would recommend is this, because you want to get the brightest picture possible, especially if you are not gaming, then you don't have to use game optimizer mode. You want to use the mode that looks the brightest. Okay, so how do you know which mode is the brightest mode? And I haven't done a video about this, by the way, because I only play games. I don't watch anything on the TV, but I know some people do, and I think I have to make a separate video about this too. It is very simple. Use the exact same settings in all the modes. For example, cinema home, vivid mode, sports. Use the same settings, and then you see your picture and change between the picture modes. You will see you don't even need a colorimeter. You don't even need to your mobile app, nothing. You change the modes immediately, and you will see the change in real time. Like, you will see the brightness difference. So when we see that brightness difference happening immediately, we clearly see which mode is the brightest. And on the C1, I think it was vivid. It was between vivid mode and cinema home. I don't remember. I have to do a separate video about that and test that again. So then, after you figured out, okay, this mode is the brightest, then that's the mode that you want to calibrate. That's the mode that you want to tweak the settings to watch the content. Okay, that's the best mode. So forget about, the default calibration and the default settings that those modes are coming with. You want to change that completely because none of them have the brightness maxed out, and you want to max out the brightness to get the most out of your TV. So that's my recommendation. I will do a separate video about that because I've never talked about that. I still have so many things to cover about the LG C1, and these things apply not only to the LG C1, they apply to all TVs. My plasma TVs are the same. For example, this Panasonic Viera plasma TV has a vivid mode that has the best near black details. You can see near black is significantly better than any other mode. It has other issues, so it is not the best option, but you get the idea. You need to explore and test the different modes to see which one is the best, and don't use the settings that they are coming with from the factory, because those settings are crap. Just tweak the settings yourself. Michael says, I want the beautiful SDR colors that I get in the image modes with bad input delays, but with the input delay of the game mode. Yeah, absolutely. LG is nerfing the game optimizer mode because they are afraid of gamers. They are afraid that gamers, they play with HUDs all the time, and they're going to do a warranty claim and all of that. That's the problem. They are nerfing. On the G3, you see the complaint from the reviewers that the game mode doesn't look the same as the rest of the modes. And that has, I promise you, I guarantee you 100% that has absolutely nothing to do with input lag. Nothing to do. I would bet, I put money on that. That's a shenanigan from LG because they are afraid of burning. It's that simple. Okay, because they don't want gamers to burn the TV. Okay, but that doesn't make any sense to me, because games, if you play different games, yeah, the games, they have HUDs elements, but most people play different games. Okay. On the other hand, if you watch the news or you like a specific program or channel on the TV, you are more likely to be watching that channel with the logo all the time. So, I mean, I would say I cannot say that just watching the TV, watching the channels and programs is gonna be more risky than playing games. So they are right there. So why are you going to nerf the performance of the game optimizer mode? It just doesn't make any sense. But that's what they're doing. It's just stupid, and that's why I like when the reviewers say, "Hey, you know what? The game mode on the G3 looks like crap in comparison with the other modes. I cannot recommend it for gaming. Get a QD OLED." I'm glad when I see that, because that's what LG deserves. That gamers say, you know what? No, I'm not buying that crap. Why are you nerfing the performance? I'm not buying that. I want the best picture quality for gaming. Why are you reducing that? It doesn't make any sense. So yeah. Also, does PS5 4K look good and sharp in the C1 compared to, say, a PC native 4K? I don't have a PS5 to tell you, man. But I watched the other day a stream from TKK, and TKK, he has a PC, he has a PS5, he has an Xbox, and he was playing Street Fighter 6 on the PS5 on a 77-inch LG G2, and he said, man, this looks like a 1080p. It might not be 1080p, but I get the idea. He was saying, man, this doesn't look like 4K. This doesn't look sharp. It doesn't look good. And a Street Fighter is not a demanding game. So pixel count wise, like how many pixels Street Fighter 6 has on the PS5, it is probably 4K. So if TKK, he's used to play Street Fighter on the PC, and if he was saying, man, this doesn't look sharp here on the PS5, especially if you're getting a huge TV, if you are concerned about sharpness, you need to get a PC. You need to spend a lot of money and get a PC. But that's the thing, you get what you pay for. You want the highest fidelity, you need to get a PC. You get a PC, spend that money. You're going to get it. Of course, you're gonna get a better picture quality. All those PS5 games are exclusive. They're gonna come to the PC. It's just a matter of time. Exclusivity. It's just, that's what it is. Or you don't have to decide. Just get both. Get the PS5, get the PC, get the Xbox. That's what people that have the opportunity, that's what they do. They have everything. And just, you will see it for yourself. But if you're concerned about sharpness, absolutely do not get a PS5 or a console or an Xbox, because also there are settings on the games that make the image look bad, and on the consoles you cannot change that sometimes. For example, on the PC, we have games sometimes that come with motion blur force. I mean, I remember Sifu, for example, which is one of the best looking games I have on my system right now, because the performance is amazing. The game is not demanding at all. The art style is very easy to run, and I can run that game like at 6K, like 100 frames, 120 frames. But that game was coming with motion blur forced in the engine. But on the PC, you can go to the config file, just change, you just search on the internet, how do I fix the motion blur on this game? You just have to copy and paste like a code line on the config file, and then you can remove those post-processing effects. Sometimes you have to do that to remove chromatic aberration, and you cannot do that on the consoles. So if you're concerned about the best sharpness and picture quality and all of that, you need to get a PC. That's just the reality. Campos 34 says, do you recommend using BF5 on 120 hertz content on LGs? Absolutely. If you have an LG C1 or CX, the C2, C3, they don't support BFI at 120. So, for example, this game F123, this racing, the latest racing game from Code Master, I think. I saw the Digital Foundry video. The game runs at 120 FPS on the PS5 even. So I would definitely recommend everyone to, and on the Xbox and on the PS5, the game runs at 120 FPS, rock solid, because it has dynamic resolution scaling. Absolutely, if you have a C1, if you've never tried OLED Motion Pro High, try that. It just looks absolutely amazing. Now, in racing games, for some reason, I mean, in Forza Horizon 5, for example, I don't use it because, oddly enough, it doesn't make a big difference on that racing game. It depends. So if you have an open world, so when you're turning on the car, if you don't have buildings or signs or stuff that you can actually see moving in front of you, in front of the camera, you are not going to appreciate the better motion clarity. On a racing game where the car is not moving on the screen, so the car is sharp because there's no movement, and the car is in the middle of the screen. You're focused on the car and you're focused on the road ahead, and there's not a lot of things moving, so it doesn't make a huge difference for racing games, but still makes a difference. So if you look for it, it still makes a difference. So definitely try OLED Motion Pro High on the CX C1 in F1 23 because it runs at 120 FPS. So yeah, I absolutely recommend it. That's the whole reason why I recommend the C1. I recommend the LG C1 on top of any other TV in the market. And the reason is that OLED Motion Pro High, it works at 60, 100, and 120 for the PC. Now, if you have a console, I would rather recommend you the low latency motion interpolation from Samsung. Okay, so if you have a console, an Xbox, or a PS5, most games that can run at 60 FPS, if you can get 120 FPS out of those 60 FPS using that Game Motion Plus from Samsung, I absolutely recommend that. And I haven't tested it myself, but I spoke with Gaming Tech and he likes that feature, okay? And I've seen good things. Also, Tech with KG, he also likes the feature. So yeah, if you have a console, 120 FPS is not possible in most games. So to have a low latency motion interpolation is more important, in my opinion. So I would say get the S90C 77-inch, or if you're going with a smaller screen size, get the S95C, because the 77-inch S90C is the second gen QD OLED panel. So it's just being software restricted, and you can go to the service menu and just let it go wild and get more brightness. Even more brightness than with the S95C out of the box. Okay, you can get 2000 nits. So I would definitely recommend that for consoles. Get that low latency motion interpolation from Samsung. Yeah, I would use that all the time. Okay, I don't care about 30 milliseconds more of latency. I don't care about that. It's just the difference between 60 FPS and 120 FPS is absolutely massive, in my opinion. And there's no way I'd much rather play at 60 FPS, even if the input lag is better, because the motion clarity is very bad in comparison. So yeah, that's what I would recommend you, man. And again, I'm not biased. Like I don't have any interest in you purchasing any TV over the other. And I said multiple times that I don't like QD OLEDs, and Samsung, we all know that Samsung has, this firmware update issues and many other shenanigans, but the QD OLED technology is, the most colorful technology we have right now. The colors are just wild, and I've seen that with my own eyes on the store in vivid mode. That thing is just a punch in the face. Okay, it's just disgusting. Vivid mode is disgusting. Okay, I just don't understand that. But you can see the vibrancy of the colors on the store. So now on the store, you can also see that the black levels are raised under those lighting conditions. So that's why I absolutely, like, there's no way I can see that TV on the store and want to buy it, okay? But I'm sure if I take that TV home, if I take a QD OLED here home and I turn off the lights, that thing is gonna look amazing. The colors are gonna be just absolutely incredible. And I do have to, commend Samsung for having a low latency motion interpolation for gaming. That's a fantastic idea. Every single TV manufacturer should have that feature, because what that means is that you can double the motion clarity for gaming and still get the maximum brightness. So full brightness, you don't lose any brightness. You're only sacrificing input lag. So what I would encourage these companies to do is to improve and improve and improve the motion interpolation algorithm and try to lower that input lag again more and more and more. So with each iteration, we get better and better and better, to the point that you can just get 120 FPS out of 60 and you don't notice any defects. You don't see any interpolation artifacts. You don't feel the penalty on the input lag because it's sub 10 milliseconds, something like that. That's a fantastic idea. So I absolutely have to recommend that. And I haven't tested it myself, but again, I've seen very good feedback from people who tested that. So yeah, I definitely consider it. See, hola Plasma. Would you ever consider getting a Sony OLED? Absolutely never. Okay, so here's the problem with Sony, man. They have undefeatable ASBL. So, on this LG C1, on this LG OLEDs, we have TPC and GSR, which is basically going to allow you to turn off the dimming. So the TV is not going to be dimming when you have a static element on the screen. Okay, so let's say GSR is for the logos. So on the games, or when we're playing the games, we have logos all the time. Most of the games, unfortunately, because I don't like logos. I like some games like Spider-Man where I can just turn off all the logos and get total immersion. Okay, or even Red Dead Redemption 2 allows you to do something like that. But for the most part, you're gonna be playing with logos. So GSR on this LG OLED is gonna dim the entire screen. It is supposed to dim only the logos, but that's not the case. Okay, if the algorithm worked absolutely perfect and it only dims the logos, that's good. I would be turning that feature on. Actually, absolutely, I think it would be a fantastic feature. I mean, make the logos as dim as possible. I'm okay with that. Okay. The problem is the entire screen becomes dimmer. But you can turn it off on the service menu. Even on the C3, G3, you can access the service menu, the real service menu, to turn that off using the color control app on the PC. Okay? So now on the Sony, so that's GSR, and we also have TPC, temporal peak luminance control, something like that. And that is going to it's gonna dim the image when you have a static element on the screen. So now on the C3 and G3, it was fixed. One of the issues with that feature was fixed, which is basically the TV would think that you have a static image when you have a prolonged scene that is low luminance and there is not a lot of changes on the APL. Okay, on the average picture level. I mean, it doesn't even need to be a low luminance scene. Just having a scene that is prolonged in time, and we don't get a lot of changes on the APL. It's just the same. So the average picture brightness is about the same for a long time. When you have that on before the C3 and G3, all the TVs before the C3 and G3 are going to have still that issue, unless they fix it with a firmware update, which they should. LG should definitely fix that. And so the C3 and G3 had that issue too, but they fixed it with a firmware update. That's why I'm saying that LG can definitely fix it on the C1 and G1 and CX, GX, C2, G2. But you can turn it off. On the LG, you can turn it off. On the Samsung, you can turn it off too. Okay, it might not be called TPC and GSR, although I think it is called like that. But you can turn that off on the service menu on the Samsung TVs too. And other TVs, you can also turn that off. On the Philips, I believe you can turn that off. And on the Panasonics, I am not 100% sure, but I believe you might be able to turn it off. Now, on Sony's, you cannot. Okay, you cannot turn off that on the Sony. So on the Sony TVs, you're going to get that extra dimming for absolutely no reason. Okay, so I will never buy a Sony TV if it has that issue. Okay, I don't care how accurate they are. You might get a fantastic picture. If it is dimming, where is the accuracy? There's no HDR accuracy if you're getting dimming. So that's the main thing that I have against Sony, is that that dimming issue. But they make fantastic TVs for sure. Hey, Gaming Tech, Marcus, thank you. Hey, buddy, next weekend live stream, both of us. Let's do it. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I love live streams. I enjoy a lot the live streams we did together. Thank you so much. Absolutely, let's do it. I like live streams. That's my favorite kind of content, because what I do, let me explain. Okay, I'm a guitarist. I play the guitar, I practice the guitar, and I have to practice the guitar a lot. Okay, we're talking about all day long, if possible. So I cannot be all day long with the guitar in my hands. I get bored. Okay, and I have to, especially when I have to practice scales and do exercise and go crazy with the hands. See, cannot see my fingers. So all day long practicing is boring. So I need something to watch. Okay, and I am also still trying to improve my English. So I want to be listening to English every day, all day. Okay, all day, every day. So for me, live streams are awesome because, I listen to something that I want, like a kind of content that I like, and I don't have to be, changing the video. Because if I watch an 8-10 minutes long video, I have to change to a different video when it finishes and all of that. So I have to interrupt my playing to switch to a different video. But with a live stream, I can just be listening to it, just going crazy with the guitar. And yeah, I love live streams. So yeah, and I absolutely enjoy a lot the live streams that we did with Gaming Tech. So yeah, I can't promise anything. Yeah, I know you're busy, but yeah, let's try to do it. Let's make it happen. Okay, let's make it happen. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. You're the best. Thanks for your answer, Plasma. Hey, hello, Quat. Man, you're so funny. You're always here with the funny comments. I like you. Okay, gotcha. Why would they do that? Oh man, why would they do that? Because they are afraid of burning. Okay, they are afraid of burning. So for me, there are many companies that have this kind of mentality, that it is like this Apple kind of mentality. I hate Apple. Okay, I mean, I don't have any feelings with any company, but yeah, I really don't like Apple. Okay, I'm not an Apple fan. Let's just say it like that. But if they do a great product, like, I mean, this VR, this new, not VR headset, you know what I'm saying, this new headset that they're going to release, if they do a great product, I'm still going to, admire them and even consider buying something similar from a different brand. Okay, so I hate Apple because they have this kind of mentality that is like, okay, our customers, they are going to pay a lot of money for the brand, for the reputation that we have. They are okay with paying for everything. You need to pay for all the apps. So I see an app on my phone. For example, I'm a guitar teacher, okay? So I have an app on my phone that is a metronome that has clapping and it has other things. And I recommend this app to a student, and he has an iPhone. The app is free on Android. On the Apple, he has to pay for the app. Why? If the app is free, it's free. Why do you have to pay for the app on the iPhone? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's the kind of things that it's just bothersome for me. And the other thing is that this mentality of, and I'm talking about Sony and comparing Sony with Apple, because I think something like that is going on with Sony, like trying to have, I mean, LG has this shenanigans of having lock settings and all of that. So that kind of mentality that our customers, they just want everything to be easy. You just, one of the biggest recommendations for the Sony TVs is that, oh, with Sony TVs, the reviewers say, you just have to set the TV to custom and that's it. You don't have to touch it. You just watch everything. It's gonna work. It's gonna look good. It's the most accurate mode or something like that. And trying to make the product like that, customer friendly, but at the same time trying to lock settings and not allow you to do this, and you have less options and that kind of mindset. Okay, so that's what I am feeling from Sony. But I mean, they do the reference monitors, and Sony, when it comes to the quality of their products, is great. It might be the best. Sony might be the best, but they just have those things that I just don't like, that kind of thing. Hope you're doing good, brother. I'm doing great. Quad says gaming tech, time to stream Peppa Pig again. I haven't played that game. Any good recommendations from Steam summer sale? I don't know, man. I'm waiting for the new games. We're gonna get Ratchet and Clank soon. I'm waiting for Remnant 2. I think those are the upcoming games that are the closest one, the soonest, that we're gonna be able to play, that I am really waiting for. But yeah, the rest of the games, I think I've played them all. Yeah, the way I like to play games is a little bit messed up. Okay, I don't think anyone would enjoy gaming the way I do, because what I like to do is I like to have a lot of storage on my PC. Okay, I like to have like 50 games installed on my PC at the same time if I have enough storage. And what I do is I do a mission of one game, or I pass a level and then I jump to the other game. And the reason why that becomes a challenge is because the kind of games that I like. So I'm playing, for example, I'm still playing Wulong. Okay, Wulong. That game is like very difficult. Okay, and it is a very bad game when it comes to, technically this game is one of the worst. One of the worst games on the recent memory, when it comes to the technical part of the game, how good the game looks. You have popping everywhere. The shadows are just appearing in front of your face. It looks blurry. It is just messed up in every single way. But I like that game because it has these parries that are very satisfying. So I'm playing games like that, and I have to remember the controllers and all of that. So I advance a little bit on this game. Then I jump to the other game. Then the other day I finished Kina. I finished Kina the other day, and I've been playing that game for, I mean, more than a year since that game released, because that's the way I play. I'm playing many games at the same time, and I'm jumping from one to the other. Elden Ring, I'm still playing Elden Ring. I have the final boss there, and I don't want to beat it. So that's the way I enjoy the game. So I'm playing a lot of games at the same time. So what I do is just add games to the list. So this new games comes out, I install that if I have space, and I keep playing them. And I delete them when I finish them. I don't like to play them again and again. I beat the game one time and then it's dead for me. That's why I don't want to beat Elden Ring, because I really like it. I don't want to finish it. Because as soon as I kill the final boss, done. I'm not playing it again. Of course, I'm gonna be playing the DLC, the expansion. Quad says, I am an equal opportunity corporation hater. that sounds accurate. Are you excited for Armored Core 6 new game from software coming August 25th? I made a video about it. I am absolutely, like, I cannot believe that I want to play that game so bad. When they announced that they were working on that Armored Core, I was like, Why? Why? Like, this Souls-like formula is so successful. People like it so much. Elden Ring was a home run, one of the best games ever created. The only thing that From Software needs to do is to improve on the technical side of the games, to not to make the games look better because they look good because of the art style, but make the games perform a lot better, and definitely do not cap the frame rate of the games to 60. That doesn't make any sense, okay? To add ray tracing to Elden Ring when the game is capped to 60 FPS makes absolutely no sense. So that's what I wanted From Software to focus on. Then I see that they are working on this Armor Core, and I'm like, are they planning to just go out of business? Maybe they think, okay, we made enough money with Elden Ring. We are not gonna be able to make a better game than Elden Ring. I mean, Elden Ring is just end game. Like, there's no way to make something better than that. So yeah, we're going out of business. Let's try something different. Like, we don't know if this is gonna work, and if it doesn't work, we just go out of business. That's what I thought with Armor Core. And then I saw the gameplay, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because here's the thing. When I played, the reason why I like the Souls games is because of the gameplay, of course. The story of those games is like, a mess. You have to watch a video from Bati Video or something like that to understand what's going on. The reason why I enjoy those games is because of the gameplay. So, but why? Why do I like the gameplay of Elden Ring and all the Souls-like games? The reason is because I have to actually pay attention to the enemy. I have to observe the enemy movements. Even I have to learn the enemy movements, and not only learn what they do, but learn the interactions of my character with that enemy. Okay? And it becomes a dance. So you're not fighting the enemies, you're dancing with the enemies because you have to wait for what they are going to do for you to react and all of that. So that is still there in Armor Core, but now because we have this robot that can fly, we have another dimension of this formula. So what I see is the same feeling, the same interactivity with fighting with the enemies, with the same kind of idea. But now what I see in Armor Core is that there's another dimension, because now you can move vertically. So the character is not on the ground. See? You can now fly. And I mean, I was just blown away when I saw that boss coming to you, and with these two huge hands attacking like this, and the hands were closing, and then the robot, this character, just jump into the air and dash to go to the back of the robot. I was like, man, this is amazing. Okay, it's as simple as that. This is just gonna be insane. Okay, and I am not big into the customization and changing the robot and all of that, so that's not the reason why I'm excited to play Armor Core. But yeah, it just have this fluidity, this motion in the air, this soft lock that feels good when you are in the air, dashing super fast and going flying, with against the enemy, and when you fire the weapons on the robot, you see that the weapons are kind of, when you already aim at the target and you fire, if you move, those bullets are still gonna hit the enemy, but then you're moving in the air. It just feels so good, man. And that game looks so bad. I mean, the textures, it looks flat. Okay, you see low resolution Armor Core. I'm talking about. You see low resolution textures everywhere. Okay, everywhere, low resolution textures, no shadows. I mean, it just looks flat. I hope that game performs very well. So if they are reducing the graphical fidelity to make that game run like a dream, fantastic. But I hope it runs well. But the game looks so bad, and it is about robots. I've never been interested in playing mecha games, but Yeah, the gameplay looks absolutely insane. So I am very, very excited to play that. Armor Core, absolutely. I cannot wait. Quad says Ratchet was fun. Beat it on PS5. Man, I hope it is good. It should look awesome on PC. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. That game should look absolutely amazing on PC, and it has a great HDR, so hopefully they don't mess up the HDR in Ratchet and Clank. Um, I don't, I don't, I don't know if I am the target audience for Ratchet and Clank, but I'm excited to play it because it does look like it is beautiful, beautiful in terms of the graphics, and it's very colorful. Awesome HDR, a lot of particle effects, and this loading new worlds instantaneously. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like it, but I'm not sure if I am a big fan of that kind of games. Like you're just collecting things, that you break a box and there's a thing and you collect it or something like that. I'm not a big fan of that Mario like mechanic, but yeah, I'm excited to play it, absolutely. Thanks for the answer. Also, any tips on becoming fluent in Spanish in 2 months? Well, I can give you I can explain you how I learn English, okay? Because 5 years ago, believe it or not, 5 years ago, I was not able to understand English, let alone speak English. Okay, 5 years ago, I was in Cuba and I couldn't understand English. Okay, I am engineer in telecommunications and electronics. Okay, so we're talking about I was studying, inside the school system for many, many, many years. So since I was a kid, from first grade, there was always an English class, okay? But that was completely useless, okay? The methods that they use on the schools to teach languages in general, all over the world, is wrong and it doesn't work. I mean, there might be an exception. There might be some schools that actually use a method that works. But for the most part, it is completely useless. And a proof of that is me. After graduating from the university, after many, many years in the school, I didn't know English. I knew only, good morning, good afternoon. That's it. I was not able to speak English at all. So now the way I learn English, and you can learn any language using this method. Okay, this is the way to learn any language. You need understandable input. That's it. Next question. That's all you need to learn a language. Understandable input. So what does that mean? That means input that you can understand. Okay. Okay, so you see something. What you need to learn a language is that you see something, you touch something, you hear something, you experience something that you can understand. So let's say you want to learn how to speak Chinese, and you watch a manga, or Japanese, and you watch a manga. You are not going to learn Japanese by watching mangas. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Why? Because you are not going to understand most of the things that they're saying. You're not going to understand. Maybe you will understand some things because you see it. Okay, and translation is completely useless. Completely useless. So you need understandable input. So what you need is you need to watch a video of someone performing the actions, saying the words and phrases. And because you see that person, what they are doing, you understand, oh, okay, I know what they're talking about. Okay. You understand by watching the person, by seeing the actions, you understand the meaning. Because you don't have to look at it on a dictionary. Translation doesn't work, and I will explain you why. So you need understandable input. So you need to get enough vocabulary by using that method, which is basically, it's called TPR, total physical response. That's what I used. This method was invented by a doctor called James Asher. Okay, you can do some research about James Asher. He invented this method. It's called TPR, total physical response. So you watch these videos, or even live, if you have that opportunity. So you watch these videos of people saying the words and doing the actions, so you understand what they are doing, okay? And then you can say the word yourself or do the actions yourself, so you can remember that better. And then after you get enough vocabulary with that method, then what you want to do is you want to listen to understandable input. Again, understandable input. That's the key. So how can you get understandable input when you are very low level of the language? You need to get a very good professor that is very good at giving you understandable input. So the method that I used was called Effortless English by A.J. Hogue. You can find a method like this on any language that you want to learn. And this method is called TPRS. So the second step, so it's 2 steps only. TPR, the first step to get enough vocabulary. Second step is TPRS. It's called Teaching Proficiency Through Reading and Storytelling. That's what TPRS stands for. So with TPRS, you're going to get audio that is understandable. And that's all you have to do. All you have to do is to listen to that understandable audio all day long, every day. You don't have to study grammar rules. You do not have to translate. You do not have to try to speak the language. All you have to do is listen again and again and again to this understandable input, to these audio files. And of course, these audio files are going to come with a text, so you can read, so you can also get familiar with the way you can write the language. Of course, there are some languages that are more difficult to learn because they are not related. So let's say you're learning Japanese, the way you're gonna write Japanese is completely different because you have a completely different alphabet. So it's gonna make it more difficult in that sense. But you can learn any language by using that method. So that's it. TPRS, search for James Asher. Okay, he was the man. He was the person who actually figured out how can you learn any language. So that's the guy. Just listen to it. So Quad says, talk to the hot Latinas, or where I come from, muy caliente, where I come from Cuba. It's hot Latinas everywhere. You can go to the beach and see a lot of hot Latinas. Brett says, yo tengo una Latina caliente, necesitas más, supongo. Lol. That's Spanish. Do you have a favorite movie? Absolutely. My favorite movie is Rudy. Rudy. You know, this it's based on a true story. I don't know how true to the story that movie is, but I absolutely love it. That movie is basically the story of someone who wanted to do something and everyone told this person, oh, you're not good enough, okay? And he just kept trying and trying, and he didn't have any talent whatsoever, and he just kept trying and trying until he made it. Okay, that's it. It's a simple, it was a true, based on a true story. I absolutely love that movie, Rudy. That's my favorite movie. And the favorite part about that movie is when he actually made it. So it's a football movie. He wanted to be on the team. That's it. That was it. That's all he wanted. He wanted to be on the team and just play on the game. Okay. So there was a point in the movie where he actually he was on the team, but he was not. The coach didn't want him to play because he was like on the bench. He was on the bench. He was not good enough. But all their teammates respect him because he was more dedicated and tougher than anyone else. And he was like, at some point he was complaining like, oh man, I suck. This is not working. I'm not on the team or something like that. And one of their teammates, just tried to open his eyes and said, hey man, you have absolutely no talent to be here, and you're actually here. That's tremendous accomplishment. So yeah, something like that I really, really, really enjoy. And in my case, I've never experienced that. Someone telling me, well, actually, yes, one time someone told me that play the guitar and classical guitar was too difficult, and I was not gonna be able to do it. That was at the very, 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 very beginning. And of course they were wrong. But for the most part, because people know that I am very dedicated, not because I am a talent or anything like that, I am very dedicated on anything I do. People most of the time they tell me the opposite. I'm sure you're gonna do it. So then it's like, okay, once I accomplish something, they are like, okay, I told you so. And it is the opposite effect. It is discouraging. So imagine you want to accomplish something and you know that you have to work hard for it, okay? And everyone tells you, oh, I know you're gonna do it. Easy. That's easy for you, man. You're an animal, okay? You're gonna do that very, very easy. There is no incentive to prove anyone wrong or anything because everyone is telling you that it's very easy to do and that you're gonna be able to make it. So it's tough for me. I love, when someone tells me, oh, that's too difficult, you're not gonna be able to do it. So I can actually, yes, I have someone to prove wrong. That doesn't happen very often. So Kay Brooks says, loving my LG C1 with Xbox Series X and PS5. You see, no console war. He has both. He has both. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. That's the most important thing, man. Enjoy what you have. Many people are never happy with what they have, and they are always seeking something new, and it never ends. To be on the bleeding edge of the technology is like, it never ends. It's never gonna end. So just be happy with what you have. Be grateful with what you have. I mean, think about this. There are some people that have a lot of money. They have all the tech. Okay, they have a micro LED for gaming with a dual 4090 setup. Okay, the best audio system and home theater system possible, and they have no time to play. Think about that. If you have time to play the games, you are so fortunate. And it doesn't matter if you have a PS5, an Xbox, a good or bad PC, or it doesn't matter what you have. If you have time to play, wow, what a blessing. Okay? So it is so great when someone tells me, I feel great when anyone tells me, hey, I am enjoying my TV a lot. See, wow, this TV looks fantastic, regardless. Okay, it doesn't matter if they have an LCD, whatever. Hey, I have this TV and I am enjoying it. That's great. Okay, that's awesome. That's exactly what you have to do. Be proud of what you have. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. We've been already over 1 hour. I just wanted to freestyle this live stream, but yeah, we don't have any more questions. I'm gonna end the video here. Saturday night. We don't have a lot of people on the chat. This has been the smallest live stream we've done. Maybe once I do the live stream more often in a more consistent manner, we're gonna get more people to show up. But maybe Saturday night is not the best time. So yeah, thank you for all of you showing up. So I see we have 24 likes, so at least we got 24 people showing up at some point. So I appreciate you guys. I was expecting this live stream to get some Area 51 questions. Like that first live stream that I did was absolutely crazy in terms of how many questions I got, about the motion clarity and the blur busters law and all of that. That was very demanding. That live stream was really, really, really demanding mentally because the questions were very deep. Okay, very deep. That's why I call this live stream Esoteric Q&A, because I was expecting that. But yeah, there's not a lot of people today here, so I'm just gonna end the live stream. Say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Gaming Tech for the super chat. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward for that live stream next week. Hopefully, we have time both to do it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for your support. Gaming Tech from the beginning, I have to say thank you because he gave me a shout out when I had 400 subscribers. Okay, he did that video about the HLG. He gave me the shout out. he made a fair comparison. Then we did 2 live streams together, which I enjoy a lot. And yeah, I appreciate Gaming Tech. We are close. You are close. We communicate with each other, and yeah, I really enjoy him being here. And yeah, he's a great guy. Gaming Tech. So yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Quad. Thank you, Kate Brooks. Thank you, Antonio Rivera, Brett, Sharing. Thank you, Gleaming TV. Let me see, Miguel Carvalho from Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo, Dushi. Hope you're doing good, brother. Same to you, Dushi. Thanks for showing up here. Thank you to Campos 3452. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So also to Euro Chuck Norris and JA. So yeah, thanks for everyone who showed up. I appreciate you, and go and enjoy the rest of your weekend.